is this something that people like to play or do they not like to play? I can guarantee you that it comes with much more headaches and problems than you think.
Whenever you're building product, ship fast.
You can build the best thing in the world, you can have the best company in the world, the best product, the best service. If you don't have clients that are using your services, you're nothing.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Nalikes Podcast. I'm Talha Asif, and in each episode, we bring you insightful conversations with the founders and builders who are shaping the future of Web3. Our goal here is to educate and inspire founders in the Web3 space by interviewing other founders who are building successful products. Make sure you watch till the end as you'll learn practical and actionable steps that you can apply to your projects or products today. Today's guest is Pasha, who is the co-founder of Brainz, which is a gaming platform. Thank you so much for coming on, Pasha. How are you doing today?
Good. Thanks, Tala. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. Pasha, my goal here is to pick your brain and figure out how are you building a successful product in the Web3 space. But before we jump into that, I would like to learn more about your background. Who is Pasha and what do you used to do before Web3?
Yes, of course. So I'm Pasha. I'm originally Iranian. I was born in the US, moved to Iran at the young age of 1, and was there until the age of 13, 14, where I moved to the UK. I've been there ever since. I'm 25, and my background essentially is venture capital. That's what I've been focusing on in the last 4 years. And we've launched, me and my co-founder, beginning of this year, we came together and decided to launch Brainz, that we launched a few weeks ago. So I'm a first-time founder of such a Web3, especially in crypto. And my co-founder Thomas, he's done a few educational platforms in the crypto space before. So yeah, we're really excited to be going into this new venture and learning and understanding how we can build something that everyone enjoys playing, which is for us this was an idea that came about a year ago when we thought about the days of HQ Trivia, which was a platform that I'm not sure if people still remember, but back in the day in 2016, 17 was absolutely huge in the US, where people logged in at a certain time of the day. It was always at 6 p.m. and they answered trivia questions and won prizes. So that was the idea, and we thought, wait, that's really fun. We can recreate that. Everyone enjoys playing trivia. Let's do it, but better. So that's sort of a quick blurb on me and what we're doing now.
So Pasha, you mentioned that you used to be in venture capital and now you are moving towards becoming a founder. Normally people do that the opposite way. First they are a founder, then they become a venture capital. So my question to you is, why did you decide to go from a VC to a founder? Because being a founder sucks. I know that personally, and all of the people that I have in my network and all of the people that I have on the show, they're like, don't become a founder, right? It sucks. Like Elon Musk say, it's like chewing glass and staring in the abyss. So why did you become a founder? Why did you decide to become a founder? And what is your advice for people who are thinking to become a founder?
That's a great question. So, I mean, I did the whole process the other side. So I went straight from my studies into venture. The reason was my interest has always been around fundraising. So fundraising and bringing investors and working on different projects, especially in the beginning, rather than focusing on one, was sort of what I enjoyed doing, and learning about the processes of how each company and how each early stage venture could essentially scale their product or services was something I was really passionate about, and wanted to learn and understand what makes a venture more successful than another one. So I was very happy doing that for the last 4 years, and eventually COVID hit, and I always wanted at the same time to work on a project of my own. I thought to myself, I'm young, I have no kids, no wife, so if there's a time to take the risk and take the chances, probably now. So that's why I circled that of venture at the end of last year and decided to to build Brainz. So that's sort of the story. And to your question of if I have any advice, or as far as my experience so far is that in the beginning, for sure everyone thinks like, oh, you're working on something of your own, that's much better, but I can guarantee you that it comes with much more headaches and problems than you think, but it's part of it, right? So high risk, high reward.
Amazing. I want to talk about, when did you get introduced to Web3? What's something that you have had? Because again, you were a VC, so I suppose you were exposed to a lot of industries and opportunities. When was that moment that you understood, okay, this is something I want to explore, or that aha moment? Okay, how does crypto work? It's too big, then we understand. What was that moment for you?
Right. So when I was doing venture, I started as an analyst and then moved to associate, I was mainly covering industries such as logistics, supply chain, fintech, agtech, and a bit of consumer as well. And at the time, we started seeing a lot of investments pouring into crypto projects and Web3, right? So I knew that I had to adapt and start learning, because I was just curious to understand how it works and what is the value there. So slowly, I would say it was by being curious that I started to learn. And I just decided that, wow, the difference between how you can scale a crypto project these days and how you can scale a project that is in industries such as logistics is completely different, right? We are having a big tailwind because of the whole boom of COVID and crypto at the same time, with prices of Bitcoin surging. So everyone is suddenly much more interested in learning and getting into crypto, right? So I decided to look into the different aspects of crypto more than just buying low and selling high, which is most people do, right? So obviously, in terms of how we came with the idea of Brainz, was we wanted to build a game, right? We said that people like and enjoy playing games, right? How can we take something that was already good and popular, such as HQ trivia and trivia in general, and bring it just to the next level and adapt it to today's technology and the way people like to transact today, which is people love paying by the crypto and using crypto.
Got it. So I understood the way you got exposed to Web3 was that you were mainly investing in different industries, and when you saw that a lot of investment is being poured in this industry, that curiosity led you to explore it. And then I'm still trying to understand, what was the aha moment when you actually understood what is crypto?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it's kind of blurry now thinking back, but I think if I'm honest with you, the aha moment was just seeing valuations of companies blowing up in this vertical, right? So we were speaking with MoonPay at the time, with the founder of MoonPay, and they were raising around $1 billion, and obviously it's completely different what they do to us, which we're in gaming now. But in terms of looking at their numbers, I was like, wow, these many users, these many new signups, growing X% month over month. So that was, I think, I would say, what I can recall, the moment of like, damn, this is something big.
Amazing. From my experience, the people, most founders get introduced to Web3 is because of the returns. And that is a common theme that I've seen with many of my friends and people in my network, that they saw someone that invested something in one coin and then it 10x, or when they invested in an NFT that went 10x. And then once they get into the space, they realize, okay, it's not just about speculation, it's actual technology that can change a lot of things. Amazing. So, I talk about ideation on this podcast a lot, because one thing that most people struggle with is ideas, because in my experience, I've worked with so many founders, and most of the ideas that I have come across are ideas that, it seems, I don't want to say it stupid, but I want to say bad, like things that market do not need. It's something that a founder is personally obsessed with. And that is one of the reasons why I haven't personally ventured into something, because any idea that I come up with, I just reject it, because I know it does not work with. So, what the framework that I've created so far, talking to a lot of people, is that either whenever you come up with an idea, you let it cook. Don't take action immediately because you can be reckless. You basically solve your own problem or solve someone's problem, and then keep refining it until you get market validation. So what has been the journey so far? I know you guys are in the initial days, but what was that conviction, or what was the framework that you guys used to decide, okay, this is something we want to work on? Because whenever you pick an idea, it's like a long journey. It might not work overnight, right? So one thing that I've got from you is that this is something was personal to you because you have played these trivia games in the past. So what was the framework that you have decided, and again, being a VC as well, where you were exposed to a lot of ideas, what framework do you think is a good framework to figure out what ideas to work on?
Right. I think in terms of, the way you always look at a venture or an idea from the beginning, because everyone has ideas every day, and you come up with, you walk in the street, you look at something, you're like, oh, what if I did this, or what if this could have been like this? So I think number one is really studying, right? You have to study in depth and understand the market that you're going to be in, right? Understand not only how your customers or who your customers are going to be, but also that's something that's quite important, is how you're going to be able to monetize, right? So what we looked at when we thought about Brainz, the whole project was, okay, trivia is not something that is new, right? We're not reinventing the wheel here. So the idea was there. People like HQ Trivia back in the day, did it at a very, very high level and were very successful. What can we learn from them? What did they do right? What did they do wrong? And the reason why they shut down on things that we could do differently, right? So one of the things was, those guys were running the games for free. For example, I'm just giving you one example here. The games were free. Everyone could join in for free, and they were giving out prizes, right? So what happened is that their games got, number one, a lot of users, which was great, but at the same time, a lot of the users were bots, right? To come in, it was free. So people would send, thousands of bots into the game and started like completely destroying the game. And number three, because the games were free, the guys couldn't find advertisers, that could, sponsor the games. And that's why they couldn't monetize. And that's why they went out of business, because they ran through, even though they raised money from VCs, they burned it, and, they were left with nothing. So that's, for example, one lesson we learned from them. And that's why we decided not to do free games and make people pay a small fee as an entry ticket in order to join the game. Right?
Don't you think? Don't you? I'm sorry to stop you here. Don't you think that is against what most people do? Is like the freemium model, where you do give something for free to attract the users, and then you extract value from them. Because again, I can be wrong, but from my understanding, if you do gate it somehow that only people who have the money can play it, how would they experience your product?
Yeah, that's
I'm
a great
curious.
question. And I think the way we wanted to do it is, from the beginning, not make it a freemium model, right? And then run offers and promotions, then to bring people and give them a taste of the game with special offers, such as like one game or one session with a ticket that we give them for them to experience it. Because if we wanted to do it from the beginning completely free, we could not, we wouldn't be able to monetize, and we didn't want to have that type of quality of players and users as well on our platform. We wanted to focus more on the quality and users that were able to pay, basically. But back to your point, we are going to launch a campaign very soon to allow a certain group of people to be able to come and attract them for a set limit time to play and understand how Brainz works, and then hopefully on the back of that be able to grab them as users and paying users specifically.
Got it. So far, going back, the whole discussion was ideation, and then what I can summarize is that first, you saw a product or an idea working in another industry, right? Which was HQ Trivia. I don't know about that platform, but you decided to replicate that in this industry. So one takeaway could be, if you see an idea working in another industry, you can bring that in another industry. So let's say the founders in Web3 or what might be watching this, if they see another product in another space, they can use that to bring in this industry and just apply the crypto days, right? Because Now, one thing that I can see is that the whole payment part becomes easier. I'm not sure how payment would work in that product, right? But now with
Yeah.
crypto, the payment distribution is very easy. And the second thing is this was something personal to you, because what I've realized, if an idea is not personal to a founder, they don't really stick to it long, right? So I'm not sure what is your personal experience with that platform. You might have played and made a lot of money from that. You might have, but you decided to do that. So something that is personal and something that is worked in another industry. Second question is, why would people want to use your product? Because from what I can see, based on working with you, and so far what I've learned is that people want to make money. Like, this is something that I can go use my knowledge or my free time and make money. What are the other reasons that you think people might want to use the platform, and what framework are you guys using to attract users? Because one good thing about you guys, you mentioned you know who your customers is, right? Because most of the founders don't really know who their ICP is, who is their customer, whom are we serving. So what is the reason people want to use a product like yours, which is a gaming product, and why do people use most of the product? Because from what I've learned is either if it's solving their problem, they might use, for example, Riverside. This tool that we are using is because this solves a problem, right?
Yeah.
This is a need that we have. So why do you think people will use your product? And then how should founder thinks about building a product that people would use?
Right. That's a good question. I think to your first point that people want to make money, that's one side. But I think what we've built is also a really fun experience, right? So I myself and other people around me, we before launching Brainz, we did surveys, we carried out, different questionnaires and asked people around. And we think that in general, trivia is something that people enjoy playing. People naturally like to, guess or know the answer to a question. It's something very satisfying, right? So it has that fun aspect to it. And on top of that, I think is the monetary aspect and, the whole compensation system. Let's just say for you to win and get rewarded for your skills, basically, because at the end of the day, trivia is a skill-based game, right? It's knowledge, and I think people enjoy and have fun playing trivia. So this was sort of the first question that we had: do people enjoy and would people enjoy playing the trivia? So forget everything else. Is this something that people like to play, or do they not like to play, right? So from there, we took the idea and we said, okay, so how can we, make it in a way that is simply the best experience, right? So we provide an experience that is fun, right? So that people want to continue to play, right? They get rewarded with prizes, right? And everyone is happy at the end of the day. So we took the example of something that worked in the past, right? Decided to improve it and adopt new technology with it. And yeah, that's been sort of the formula so far.
So that's a very interesting point. Create something fun first, because I've been a part of Y Combinator, and one thing I learned from that is build something that people want or people love. And I think that is a really good point that you guys are covered, that we are building something that is fun first, because you did not talk about the earn part. Back a few in crypto, if you have been there, you know that there's kind of X to earn, play to earn, watch to earn, win to earn. That was the narrative. And what I think went wrong was that people were so stressing on the earn part that they missed out the fun part. So the whole play to earn games, most of the games were just earning, but no game was fun. But I think that's a good point. And the takeaway for founders could be focus on building a product that people like, and then the earn part would be figured out itself. Amazing. So again, the framework for the ideation could be take something that have worked in another industry and bring it to crypto. Something personal that you have a reason, in your case you use Facebook. And the third is make something fun. My next question is market validation. Now, all of these things are from your side, right? But how do you know that people want to use your product? I know you guys are running some tests now, doing some session, getting users on. So what framework are you guys personally using to validate your idea, right? Okay, is this something, because so far you are using assumptions from the other industry, your own personal experience, but you don't know how people will react to it, right? So what are you guys personally doing to get the validation from market and improve the product? And what is a framework, or what are your advice for founders who are in similar state where they can validate the idea? Because one thing I've I've seen is that people always keep building. They're too scared to put their product out there, right?
Yeah,
They say, okay, I'll add this feature and I'll do it. And again, being a development service provider, we have seen this. We're like, okay, when will you launch? Launch it fast, right? So,
yeah,
so what has been your experience in that?
yeah, exactly. I mean, for us, it was also the same debate in our head when we, were close to launching, and we constantly had ideas and things we wanted to add to the game and to the platform. And, I just thought that, at some point, the most important is to start. You have to start it, and then we'll improve it, learn, improve, learn, improve. So I stand by that. And, we decided to launch it, about 2 weeks ago. And we've been getting a lot of feedback from friends and family, but also some users, some brand new users that we've been having on the platform. Actually, just today, earlier in the morning, I just messaged one of the users, and I said, hey, yeah, on Discord, do you have a minute to chat? He said, yeah, sure. I just jumped on a call with him, and I said, listen, just wanted to see what's your feedback on the game. I know you played about 3 sessions, and you came on last week, and you've been playing, and he actually won some good prizes. So I asked him, what do you think? What do you think you would improve, and how do you like it? He said, oh, I like the game. I think the timer is great. I like the fact that at the end of the sessions we have a spin the wheel that gives the opportunity for people that didn't finish first to also get rewarded with a prize, right? So that's I think the most important is to be able to be agile enough and just get feedback, and not be scared to adjust, and get any negative feedback as well. I told him straight up. I said, is anything bothering you, or anything you feel that has frustrated you on the user side experience? Obviously some people experience some lags and things like that, but it's normal. So I think as a founder, it's very important to not only focus on what you think is correct, but also get the opinion of others, and continuously see what the point of view of especially the users are, right? Because they without the users, you're not going to be successful. So
Yeah, so I think you answered my next question as well. My next question was, till what extent should founder have conviction in their idea, and till what extent they should listen to the market? Because sometimes founders can be delusional. I know best. I don't care what people think. I know that this idea will work. And there's so many people out there, right? But some on the other hand are like, okay, I'll do what my users say. I use one tool called Trippy.ai, which is a Twitter outreach tool. I think that can be a great tool for your go-to-market strategy, which we'll discuss in a while. But the thing that founder has done is, in the beginning, he did everything himself. He knew which features to add. But what he did later on, and I'll add a screenshot on the chat for people to know, is that he added a community aspect, which means that anyone who has signed up for the product, right, basically can add a new feature. Okay, I want to have a particular feature in this product, and then there is an option for upward and downward. The rest of the users who are subscribed to the product, if they feel like this is the feature they need to add, they'll upward it. So out of all the 10 requests, the feature that have the most upward is the developers that will then work on. So in the way, it become a community product where the founder is listening to the community. So that is like a very amazing feature. I'll share with you after our chat, but that might be something you can add to Brainz as well. So I really love that feature, because in that way, you, instead of going on a call or listening to your community, you just give them a platform where, okay, I feel like, okay, this feature would be great. Please add it ASAP. Now, this is something that someone has requested, but the way the founders know I want to work on is based on the upward, because sometimes some people don't want to, communicate. They don't like to put their voice out there, but doing like as simple as upwarding it would be a good thing that people know. So I think that is something amazing. So going back to my question, till what extent should founder have conviction in their idea, and till what extent till they should listen to their customers?
Right. I think you need to keep a balance. I mean, in the beginning, you need to have conviction in your own idea to even start working on it and build it, right? You need to have a certain level of conviction to be able to, bring it to a level where, people say, oh, okay, so this is something real, right? But at the same time, it's important to collect feedback, because you can't be stubborn, right? You have to be convicted enough, right? But also humble enough to be able to adjust and understand and take criticism and see what and how people are reacting to your product or service, right? So the way we did it, or the way currently we're doing it, right? So we had this idea, we developed it, it's we've launched it, right? And we're slowly taking feedback from everyone, adding features, and understanding what are the things that they're looking into a product and how they would like this game to be, right? And obviously, we're collecting everyone's feedback, and we're taking it into account. It's not like, I think if you go with the approach of no, everyone is wrong, I know what I'm doing, this is going to be a success, and everybody else is wrong, I don't think is a good approach. However, on the other hand, I think you need to give things time, right? So it takes, it depends, but 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years. Sometimes you feel an idea is not good, but it actually is. But you just need to be persistent and just believe in it and keep pushing in the right direction, and it will eventually, you will eventually be rewarded, and eventually, you will see that, oh wow, people actually like it, right? So it's a combination of both. As a founder, I think you need to just be very, very, very agile as a person, and be able to take feedback, criticism, and uh, just have the stick to your vision, but at the same time, be humble.
Yeah, I think that's the takeaway. Be humble. Because as a founder, I mean, one thing I've learned is that if you want to be founder, you have to be shameless, and you have to keep your ego at the door. I read this book called Ego is the Enemy, and because one thing I like to do personally, Pasha, is everyone reads success stories. I read failures. Because you learn a lot from failures. Like, what have other people done? So my uncle, he has an OTA, online travel agency. His startup is valued at $18 million, and I think you guys might know him. He because when I asked, he got validation from Plug and Play. So one thing I've seen from him is that, and I asked him, why you're working in a product, right? I'm doing a services. The reason I'm doing a service is because I know that most products are difficult to build. Because in services, once you have the skill and you have you know how to serve your customer right, you can be successful. So my point was, you have to keep your ego out there. So the takeaway is that have conviction, have faith, but at the same time be flexible to ideas. And if your customers are saying something, that they want something, be willing to listen. Don't be stubborn, because if you're stubborn, then chances are you'll increase your chances of failure. And most of the failure stories I've read is the people who were stubborn, who were not willing to listen to their co-founders, who were not willing to listen to the market, and they kept on working on something that nobody wanted.
Absolutely,
Amazing. So so we covered ideation. We covered how founders can choose to have conviction on their own idea or rather listen to the market. The next thing that most people struggle with, and I'm pretty sure you guys might be going through that, is choosing between fundraising and bootstrapping. Right? This is a question that founders get.
yeah.
Right. So my personal, I don't want to go to the fundraising side, because I think if you fundraise from someone, you have to meet their expectations. If you don't get the right founders, that's whole another stakeholder that you want to keep happy and satisfied. So what is your experience? Should founder decide to bootstrap or fundraise? And if they do fundraise, how they should do it?
Right. I think it really depends on the situation. I mean, it all depends on also the person's situation. I know people that had to go and fundraise from day one because they couldn't bootstrap, or didn't have the means or the funds to do it, right? So the way we were lucky enough, and we decided to bootstrap it from the beginning, and the strategy behind that was that let us first build a product, show that proof that show it as a proof of concept, and show that it's working, and we were able to have users, and people are playing, and people are enjoying, and it's a project that is working, right? And then we can get outside investment to hyperscale, right? So that's been our strategy. But again, it depends. I think if you want to have outside investors come on board, it's very important to have investors that not only provide you with capital, right, but also strategic value. I think that is something that is really the most important in an investor, and things that we look. And I, even back in the days at the VC, always we try to be more than capital and provide, founders with strategic value add. it can be introductions, right, to other, people that could help with the business, sort of conglomerates or other companies or other individuals that have been in this industry for a long time that could serve as, a board advisor or, a partner. But I think that is really, really key in general, to have investors that are fully in line with your vision, number one, but also can add value more than just providing you with the capital that you need. Because we've had experience of, I've seen personally, like some investors that are just, they drain the founders so much, and the guys like just take the business and I'm out. So that's something that you do not want.
Right. Amazing. So I think what you were referring to is smart money, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Got it. Do you think having personal experience in the venture capital world has helped you or will help you in raising for this project or product?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been really, really a big plus for us. So from the beginning, we had people approaching us to be able to back us from day one, from the idea, from some scratch, when we just had a piece of paper with a business plan. But we said no, let us build something, right? First, show it to you, test it, see that people like it, and it's a project that's working and people are enjoying it, which is one thing that's very important for me that I keep repeating is people enjoying it, because I believe in what we're building, which is a game, right? The moment people are enjoying what they're doing and what the game they're playing, we can count it as a success, because it means that we can scale it.
Why are you so obsessed with providing customers with a good experience, with a fun experience? Is there a personal reason?
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of people get it wrong. I think your success as a company always comes from the client, from the user, right? At the end of the day, they are, without them, you're nothing, right? You can build the best thing in the world, you can have the best company in the world, the best product, the best service. If you don't have clients that are using you, or that are using your services, you're nothing. So that's why I always went with that.
That's very humble of you to say. Most founders would never say that, because
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
That without customers we are nothing.
Yeah. So I always believe that if the customer is happy, if our users are happy and are enjoying what we're providing them, so if they're having a good time playing the game, right? And we've built in features specifically to retain and make everyone happy. In the beginning, when we started the game, the idea, a lot of people told me, oh, but Pasha, what if there's 200 people playing? Of course I'm not going to win. Of course, I'm going to just be paying to play, but I'm not going to win anything. And then at some point I'm going to stop, because I know I cannot win. So I went back and started thinking, and that's why the whole idea of being able to provide a pool of prizes that's going to be distributed to everyone that plays the game, right, makes sense. And once we started implementing that, I saw that everyone started to have a good time, basically, even though they were not finishing first, or they were coming fifth or sixth or seventh. They were still enjoying playing the game because it was a fun experience, right? And at the end, they were not out of pocket, right? So it was a challenge for us to balance that and for it to make sense economically, but we managed to find a sweet spot for it. And I think it's been working well so far. So yeah, I mean, back to your question, I think as a founder, you need to really understand and be able to put yourself in the shoe of the customer always, and have the two sides, be a founder, but also switch and be a client or customer yourself, and see it with their point of view.
Makes sense. So, amazing. So going back to our main discussion, which was, should you fundraise or bootstrap? And your opinion or idea or answer on that was, it's very subjective. If you are in a position where you can bootstrap it till you get market validation, you should do that. Or if you don't have the means, because not everyone have those kind of resources, you can fundraise. But when you do decide to fundraise, you have to be very strategic about whom you take money from. It's not just the money you want; it's the other added benefits, like you said, introductions,
Yeah.
resources, talent, or ideation, or whatever. You should look for that. Now, my next question to add up on that question is: you being a founder, right? You being a VC as well, because you were in a position where you were giving money to someone either through your company. What was the check boxes? Because in the previous episode, I had a guy who raised $5 million for building a Web3 game. His name is Roy. He's the founder of Shadowware. They're also a client of ours, and he gave me a framework which was very interesting. It was like, fundraising is like dating. So when a girl is deciding to choose a guy, she's saying, okay, is he tall, handsome, has a car, has a job, has like these are the check
Yeah.
boxes. So
Yeah.
from an investor's perspective, it's like, okay, does this founder have this? So can you give us like some check boxes, or do you agree with this framework? And give us some check boxes that founders can fulfill to raise? Because I personally know so many founders that are currently raising. I mean the overall situation in the Web3 market has made it difficult to raise as well.
Yeah.
But still, despite that, how can people raise?
Yeah, I think first of all, I agree with the checkbox system, right? And I think it's like, you each time you take a call with an investor, is literally you going out on a date, right? So you go out on a date maybe 5-6 times in a single day when you're fundraising, right? And you just have all the investors that are interested, and you try to pick and choose, and see who can offer what, how you can work with these people. Many instances, for example, when I was back in the day in VC, we were competing with the big boys, Andreessen Horowitz, and 8VC, and the guys at Sequoia on for example, winning a term sheet, right? And we always said on a call to those guys, listen, like we're much smaller than, we were at the time a boutique venture capital firm, and we said to them, listen, we're much smaller than these guys, but we've done X, Y, and Z for this company. We introduced these guys to these conglomerates, or these partners of ours that eventually help them boost their sale, and so we showed always that we were more than capital, that we could add value in other ways. And I think the way you can when you're picking and choosing on who you want to have as an investor is also has to do with, like, is this someone that you want to have on board with your dream and what you're building for the next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years even, right? So it's not an easy answer. Sometimes I know people and founders that are forced to go with an investor, right? Because they they don't have that much choice, right? Which is something that I understand. But sometimes you have to, I know, take sacrifices and make sacrifices as well, and that's part of the game as well. Trying to always balance that side as well. But founders that always go on fundraising, they start to fundraise for like 3 months, 6 months. I've known founders that have been fundraising for like a full year. It's not easy, it's tiring, but it's something that the company needs, right? It's fuel for the company, it's fuel for what you're building. So without fuel, it can't run. So yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with the checkbox of, like, things that you need. But if I had to put, for example, 3 main things that I would say are the most important, right, in terms of the checkboxes, right? Number 1, I think, is for me the value add, right? Apart from capital, right? A lot of, like, backers and investors have a lot of capital. They're happy to write you a check and say goodbye, right? But I myself personally today would rather take on an investor that would give me value add in terms of connections and people in the industry and networking, right? Rather than just give me the check that I want, right? So that's the first one. Number 2, I would look for an investor that is educated in that field, right? I wouldn't go for an investor that is from another industry, or someone that invests in fintech, or in logistics. Or I would, if I'm doing something in crypto, I would want an investor that is educated in crypto, right? Makes things much easier, and you can also align in terms of expectations, right? So the person that is an investor in let's say fintech would not understand the same things that can happen in crypto or in a company that is crypto based. So it's going to be always a challenge aligning expectations. And number three, I think, is just has to do with personal relation. Who as an investor you can just pick up the phone and ask questions, and if you have any problems or issues, and just be comfortable with and have a good rapport, I would say. So yeah, these for me are the three most important ones. And back to your question on, also I was thinking if you should bootstrap or raise from ventures, or raise capital from outsiders. A lot of people see these days Elon Musk or guys like that have made billions of dollars, and they start a new project and they still get backing from ventures, right? You ask yourself why. The guy is worth a couple of $1 billion. He can easily bootstrap his own company, even put $100 million into it. Well, the reason is always you want, number one, you get validation from someone outside yourself, right? They can validate your idea and your company. So it's a big sort of tick, if you will. And the back to my idea, back to my argument of having someone that can add strategic value, right? So even those guys at that level go after investors that can add value and strategic value, because they clearly don't need capital, right?
This is something this is the first time I'm getting this perspective, because I've had this perspective. Like, these guys are so rich, why they still raise? I asked this question when Adam Newman, the founder of WeWork, and then he raised again from Anderson Horowitz for another. Like, why? So that was the reason. Okay,
that is
very interesting.
One of the main reasons. Of course, you offset your risk as well, but of course, the guys that have made a lot of money, they still go ahead and get funding from outsiders. It's always a big validation and a tick.
Got it. So if you were to summarize, basically, first, you want to make sure, one point that you said was that you want to take money from someone who not just only bring money to the table, but basically what other value add they can do. Because sometimes founders are in a position where they're desperate because their runway is going out, they have salaries to pay. Because when you are in a survival mindset or survival mode, you're not thinking these things, right? You can't take long-term view on things. You're just like, I get the money and so I can pay the salary. So, but again, founders should still be like, what other value they can add. Second is, are they someone who I enjoy time with? Can I call them at any time? Do you think this happens mostly with angels, or this can happen with VCs as well? Because I personally don't have the experience, right? So that's why I'm asking you.
Yeah.
If we work,
a lot of the big VCs, I mean, these days the process is very standardized. That's why, like, when we were investing and a lot of the founders liked us, was because we were a smaller team, more boutique, and we were more hands-on in terms of helping them, right? The big guys these days, is a big stamp of approval. A lot of people, for example, when they want to do a Series B, Series C, or later stages, they always look who backed these guys in their seed and Series A, right? If you have a big name, it's like an approval, let's just say, right? People say, oh wow, Sequoia backed them in their Series A, maybe I should invest as well, right? So I understand that as well, which is something I would definitely do as well. But it's always good to have a backer, as I said, that can give you more than the capital that you need, and help you boost. Because yes, they can give you the check and you can have them on your cap table, which is great, right? But if at the end of the day they're not going to help you go towards your trajectory, then it's not so useful.
Amazing. I mean, lots of value there. So that covers fundraising. How are you guys doing fundraising? Do you want to share with us?
Yeah, so we bootstrapped obviously the company from the start, right? We had a bunch of people that I knew back in the VC that I was telling them about this idea that they wanted to throw in some checks, but we told them, listen, like, let us bring this to a solid level. Then when we want to scale, we'll ring you. But eventually, we had a good partner of ours that was really dedicated, and we saw that can bring tremendous value, especially in terms of marketing and scaling, right? And we just saw that the person also was very passionate about the project, which was very important for us. We didn't want to just bring on again someone that would just give us a check and say see you in 3 years. So we partnered up with this person. It's actually a very close friend of mine, and we were just doing it with him at the moment, and so far very, very happy of the decision.
Do you think they invested in you because they were your friends, or they believed in your idea?
No, I can definitely guarantee you it wasn't because we were friends, because I've done other things in the past, and it has to. I can confirm that it was because of the idea, and the idea, the whole vision we had for the thing. So for sure.
Amazing. Yeah, that's a good answer. The next thing I want to talk about is co-founders, because if you decide to do a startup, like you said, it will be a long journey, 5, 10. Either you will succeed or you'll burn out and give up. That is like an outcome. Having co-founders makes the journey easier. I have like really 2 great co-founders. You know them, Shehroz and the other guy you haven't met. So if it wasn't for them, it would be very difficult, right? Because I have some skills, but they complement me, right? And I want to work with them because they have been my friends since 4th grade. And again, I have the trust, and anything that I do from now, I just want to make sure they are with me. And again, like I know you have a really great co-founder as well. So tell us, like, how has that helped you, right? Like having a co-founder, and should founders have co-founders? And if yes, what's the framework they can use to have co-founders?
Yeah, I think co-founders definitely can be both good and bad if things go sour, right? I've had instances that I've seen co-founders that got into disputes, and things went really bad, and the whole ship basically started to sink. And so it can also go that way. But on the more positive side, having a co-founder is literally having if you think of yourself of someone capable, you can times 2 yourself, and sometimes the co-founder usually can even be better than you in other areas that you lack, right? So I think in my case is exactly that. My co-founder Thomas has had more experiences in building businesses, especially in crypto. They have a few other businesses in education and Web3. So it clearly helps, and gives you more power to to push forward. So I think, as you said, just having the right co-founder and the right people around you is probably one of the most important things. A team, I really believe in the power of team, right? Everyone from co-founder, but also from people that you use, such as developers like you guys, or other people that come on board, do anything from marketing or IT, or help in any sort of way. I think is very important, and that's why we really put value on the team and the people that we work with, because all together you're much stronger than just you.
Yeah. Nice. So the takeaway here is that having a co-founder is good, and you should have one, and it can make the journey fun and easier and exciting as well. Because when I'm not sure if it's with you, but when I'm with my co-founder and we're brainstorming ideas, I get pumped. I get so excited, and then we just talk about all day on that. I mean, apart from work, we don't talk about anything. Even if we are hanging out on a weekend, we're just talking work. And sometimes like, do we have a life? So is that the case with you as well?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? So especially with your co-founders, I mean, when you're also walking in the street, or even driving, like, that's the only thing you speak about, because that's the most important thing that you're currently doing in your life. And yeah, but of course, put everything aside, it's just a fun journey in general. We're just having a good time. We're building something that we believe in. We're building something we enjoy ourselves, and we know that if we were on the other side and we were the client and the user, we would be playing this and we would have a good time, right? So that's the whole thing about what we're building, and we're really proud of how it, everything is turning out and how fast we're able to do this. We know people that sometimes take a year and a half only to build the first version. I mean, we started, now it's I think almost 4 months, and we have already something out, and a game that is worth people playing.
I have two more questions on this point, because this is because this breaks or make things, right? It's the co-founder thing. So because from what I know, with your co-founders, you go way back, right? You have known him for a long time. So do you think, does that help? Because when founders are choosing an idea to work on, should they get someone they've known for years? Because in my case, I've known my co-founders from 4th grade. It's like so many years. How does that has helped, knowing your co-founders from a very long time?
Yeah, I think it definitely helps, because you know each other's strengths and weaknesses, right? And know how to manage them, and how to manage the relationship as well. I think it definitely is really important. And picking someone that, let's just say you're at the beach and you see someone speaking about an idea, and he becomes your co-founder. You guys met like 5 minutes ago, right? Down the line, you might figure things out, or see things that you're like, oh, maybe this wasn't the right person, even though the idea was correct, because a lot of pieces need to go correctly. Like, it's a big puzzle, right? Everything needs to fit in perfectly in order to make the whole thing complete. It's more than just, I think, having an idea. A lot of people these days, I see, they only talk about, oh, I have an idea, or this was my idea, or this was his idea. I always said, like, an idea is an idea. I mean, without implementation or execution, it's worth zero. And a lot of people back in the day, when I was at the VC, founders would say, "Oh, can we sign this confidentiality agreement and NDA?" And we don't want this idea to anyone to know about this idea. I always always thought the opposite. I was like, if I have this idea and I have so much conviction, only I can build this to what I know it can become. I can tell everyone in the street about this idea. I want to watch them go and build it. Try.
I know. And I've had this instance as well, because again, we're a service provider, right? So we talk to a lot of such people, and they're like, we want to sign an NDA because you guys can build it fast. Like, even though we can build it, right, we won't be able to execute like you do, because you have been cooking this idea in your head. You know the market well. So how can we steal that idea? So I try to stay away from those kind of people, because they haven't figured it out. Amazing. Lastly, I want to touch on the things you said, that if you get the wrong co-founder, things can go wrong as well. So can you quickly tell us, like, can someone choose a co-founder? Because, in your case and my case, we've been fortunate, but most people aren't. I know a lot of people who are still looking for a co-founder. Can you quickly, like, what are some points they can think of when choosing a co-founder?
Yeah, I think in general, if you have an idea and you want to build something, and you naturally don't think of a co-founder, right? If naturally this person doesn't come up to your mind, or it's not something you've discussed this with, and you say, okay, this guy, we're going to do it together, because it comes very naturally to have a co-founder. I don't think, like, I even thought about it until now that you said that. I never had a moment of, oh, maybe, like, we should do it together, or somebody else. It always happens very naturally. I think if you don't have that natural instinct of, this person is the person I'm going to do it with, right? Just do it yourself. Just build it yourself. Be the sole founder, right? Build a team around you with your developers. As you scale, obviously, you can build COO, a CTO, a CMO, and eventually, one of those guys, if you have, like, you see that the energy is good, and those guys are bringing tremendous value to the business, then you can, of course, have them as a a co-founder with you, or co-CEO, if you will, right? A lot of companies I know have co-CEOs. And you could do that.
Isn't that a recipe for disaster, having two CEOs? Because CEOs are like people who are like, they don't want to listen to anyone. They want to do things their own way, right? Don't you think of having two CEOs? Because this is the first time I'm hearing it. Like, how would that work, having two CEOs?
Yeah, I mean, if you have like co-CEOs, I mean, it's true. Like, you could have some disagreements, and if ego comes into play, right? Because today in our case, for example, me and Thomas, we're the co-founders, and you can say on paper I'm the CEO. He stands as a COO, right? But I don't see it that way. I just see everyone sort of the same, because for me it doesn't matter. There is no task that's too under for me, if I may say, or any task that's like too high. If doesn't matter if even in 3-4 years we scale to a team of 100 people, I have to send one email to a client asking what was the issue when they were trying to send the crypto and why their token didn't get redeemed, I'll do it, right? It doesn't matter. So I just see everyone as a team, and I see like the big end goal. As long as we're going towards it, I'm happy. I don't really.
I mean, this is the first time I'm talking
it.
to you for such a long time, and from what I'm getting, you have the right foundations to become a successful founder. This is something, because most first-time founders don't have these foundations, right? Like the thing that you mentioned, no such task is small for you. You're willing to do anything to make your idea work, right? But most people are like, this is beneath me.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. All right, so the takeaway on that point was that if when you're choosing an idea to work on, if someone does not come to your mind naturally, then don't get a co-founder. Just hire for the things that.
Just do it yourself. I mean, you don't. Yeah. I mean, if they don't actually come to your mind, or you don't, have that right person next to you, just do it yourself. Just do it yourself with a team of developers, and it's fine. There's
Amazing.
no
Lots
need.
of value there. Okay, so next I want to get into product, but before we do that, I want you to explain what is Brainz, because so far we have given hints, right? It's a trivia platform. So,
Yeah.
give me an elevator pitch of what is Brainz, and why should people care?
Right. So Brainz is essentially a game that we've developed, right? Which is a trivia game, and the way it became Web3 is that we integrated crypto into it. So it's a crypto trivia game where people at the certain times, we have live games, come on the platform, pay an entry fee, okay, for the game, answer 12 questions. Okay, the person with the most correct answers and the fastest time wins and gets the reward. So these rewards, range anywhere from 100, 200 USDT to eventually, thousands of USDT in prizes. So it's a game that rewards the fastest person and most knowledgeable person in a specific field. So we will run these games in the crypto theme, in general knowledge, in sports, and in movie, music, any sort of theme that you can think of, right? So that people can come and test their knowledge and win.
Amazing, very nice. That's a good elevator pitch. Let's talk about product development, because that's our bread and butter. We have been doing that, but apart from like actual technical execution, what framework have you used to build a product? Like, and then a couple of concepts I want to cover are stickiness. Like, how do you make your product sticky? Because one thing I've noticed working with so many founders is that they don't think like, how can I make my product sticky? They're like, okay, I just want to build a shiny object, but how can you make product sticky? Which means that why would people come again and again to your product? Which I think would touch to your point of having a fun experience. And the second is network effects, because I've seen that there is some kind of network effects in your product, which means that if someone is playing a game and they're enjoying it, they would want their friend to come in. And then again, based on, you've been a VC yourself, you've seen like these great products like Facebook, Google, if they have network effects built in, they naturally become monopoly. I mean, some people think monopoly as a wrong thing, but I think monopoly is a good thing. If you're doing something, you should be the only one doing it. So tell us like what framework have you used to build the product in terms of like how we are going to build it, and what are your thoughts on stickiness and network effect?
Right. In terms of, building the product, obviously everything originates with a broad idea, right? It came that, we want to build a game where people pay an entry fee and they play and answer questions and they win a prize at the end. Like, it starts as like this, then obviously you put everything down on a piece of paper. And what's funny is that how an idea from the beginning to the end evolves, right? How you keep changing things, how you improve things, how you notice things that won't work and things that would work, right? So in terms of that, that's why I always believed and wanted to launch as soon as possible, right? To be able to see a working product and better understand and adjust what's working and what's not working, as to keep a project in development for as long as possible until we bring out something that's from the start, a Rolls Royce, right? Let's say. So I'd rather bring out a product, bring users, even though, as you know, we had moments like, the product didn't work well, or, things happen, but it's part of it, right? So we adjust and we move forward, learn from it, see things that didn't work. I'd rather those things happen at the early stage, right? Rather than we've put months and months and months of effort and then those things start to happen after. So we wanted to build a product, push it to the market, start testing it with a small crowd, understand what's working, what's not working, and then once we feel confident, then push onto the marketing and fully go 100% pedal to the metal. So yeah, I think that's your first question.
So the takeaway was ship fast. Whenever you're building product, ship fast, right? And then do that. Is there any other framework that you have kept in mind while building the product? And the next two things I want to talk about is the stickiness. How are you working on that? And network effects. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the concept, right?
Yeah. So back to the first thing. So in terms of frameworks that we used, it was just mainly on being agile, and at the same time that we were building the product with you guys, we were studying the market all the time, just studying the market, understanding how we want to do things, right? And come up with a full-on strategy and plan for the next sort of 6 months, 1 year. And being in venture and having seen many companies with a forecast, I know that things never go to plan, right? That's one thing that's very important to understand. And when you know it, you see it, you're less shocked, right? When it's time for you to do it. So even though things never go to plan, it's always good to set a plan that you can work towards, right? So I always say, shoot for the stars, land on the moon. Yeah. So that's what we did here exactly. We studied the market.
How did you study the market? How did you study the market? Because one thing, I mean, I'll get this later on in the episode, which is competition. But how are you studying the market, and how can founders study the market? Because not many people do that. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I think it's good. That's a good question. I think one thing that we did and we paid attention to a lot is in searches, right? I mean, we're a game, we're online, crypto game, and we wanted to understand how many people a month are searching for these keywords, right? How many people a month from which regions of the world, from which countries are researching, trivia, play to earn, all a long list of words, and understand, where the interest is, right? Why are people searching this? When they search that, where do they click? What are they playing? How are they playing, right? So to understand the behavior and the current needs of the market, right? And to see, okay, the market we're targeting is currently at this stage. Most people that play trivia go on, this websites A, B, C, and see that, okay, once they go on these websites, what is the game? It's a free game. It's, they play it, they don't pay, they don't win anything either. Like, it's a free social game, it's not live. They just get a list of questions they can play with, the friends that they have around them. So we just understood what is currently on the market, how many people are playing those games, right? And how many people from those people that are playing those games we can bring to our game, right? So that was quite important, and specifically, I think keywords help a lot.
Which tools are you using? Can you share some of them, like Google Keywords, Google Trend? I want to make this actionable for people watching.
Yeah, I think Google is the most powerful, right? In terms of keywords, right? And the day you want to do a keyword search, and you want to boost sort of your search on Google, obviously it's Google themselves that provide the best service. So those guys, what else I'll share after with you a list that you can share with your community. And I think that was the number one thing. Then in terms of region, right, we started to understand in which countries of the world people play the most trivia. Of course, our game is in English. You should be able to read the question in English, answer questioning
Here's a food.
English.
Here's a
So
food
for
for thought.
now,
What if you can have brains in multiple language? Have you thought about that?
yeah, yeah. So this is something actually we have
Okay.
in mind that we're going to implement, but we wanted to first start with English because just to be upfront, I think the clientele that we were looking for mainly from the research that we've had, most of them are in the US, in the UK, in Australia, Canada, and speak
Why
English
is that?
language.
Because can
Uh,
they pay? Can they afford to play? Is that one of the reasons?
I mean, only also just normal trivia, just not just free trivia as well. Searches show that it's these countries that play the most. I guess it has to do with
But
you know
one question.
culture
Don't you think
or
that like I don't want to say third world countries, but some part of the countries where the economic conditions are not that good, people are more searching these platforms. So, for example, like we take Axie Infinity, for example, right? It went viral in the Philippines because it sort of created another way for people to earn extra income, or countries like India where like there are 1 billion
yeah.
people, and then these kind of games are viral. So, I'm just curious to know why you decided to go into.
For sure. I think having looked at it, number one is countries like Pakistan, India, Brazil, China as well. These guys already count for almost
In the world, yeah.
50% of the population of the world. So what we wanted to understand is that our type of clients are going to be for us, for Brainz, mainly people that are going to be able to pay, right? So we wanted to focus our marketing, our targeting, right? Because we are targeting people that are going to be able to pay and play, right? So if we want to spend marketing ads and marketing resources on countries and users that don't have the means or are not interested even to pay and to play, then it's a miss for us, right? So, but eventually, the back to your question, I think we will 100% be able to transition into a platform that is
Language.
multilingual. So I think Spanish, Italian, French, German, 100% that is something that we're going to do. I think there are some challenges into how we're going to do it, but I think we can eventually get there. And I think in general, we've had a lot of people tell us from the beginning, especially also some investors, they've been telling us why. You will always have the moment of people telling you why this wouldn't work, right? Why your idea wouldn't work, or what are the challenges of your idea. So it's important not to disregard those ideas and the criticisms that you get, right? But take them into account. Um,
Very
and
nice.
and
Interesting.
and at the end, if you're able to solve those problems, then it shows that the barrier to entry of what you're doing is also very high, so that anybody else cannot basically replicate and come in and do the same as you. So I think that it's good to solve difficult issues and do hard things.
Got it. I have two more cover topics left, which is go-to-market and mindset. But before that, I just want to quickly cover the network effects and stickiness. Do you have any thoughts on that?
In terms of stickiness, I mean, it's just, I think it happens through testing, right? So we wanted to build a game that obviously for in our example is addictive, right? That keeps the player engaged and wants them to continue playing, right? Don't forget, we have monetary incentives, right? So it's very different. People like to make money, right? So it's very natural, and that's why we wanted to design it in a way that the stickiness comes from big rewards, right? And also allowing you to test your knowledge and make it a fun experience. I think the combination of all those three, if you combine it with a good user interface, right? A platform that works well and is really, really, really good, is a winning formula.
Makes sense. Very interesting. All right. So second last topic is go-to-market strategy. Um, you have come up with an idea, you've built a team, you've built the product, you've tested it, you have validated it. How do you go to market? And how are you going to market?
Right. That's a good question. I think, in terms of how you go to market is probably the most important aspects, right? Uh, for us, I always believe that how you go to market is depends on a few things. So how you want to launch, right? Where you want to launch, okay? And what are the people that you're targeting, especially in the beginning, right? To because we're in the stage that we're doing a proof of concept. We want to show that this project, this idea, this game works, right? So um, we did a very soft launch, right? We didn't. We're growing currently organically. We're not running any ads or paid ads currently. This is something that eventually we will do, but not at the moment because we've been improving the product, right, day by day. So I think it's quite important to understand that when you launch any company or any venture, the go-to-market strategy really depends on um, also at what stage you're in, but also what you want to capture, right? So for us, for example, we wanted to find a group of maybe we knew from the beginning that okay, we want to target some crypto users in this community uh, that are currently, doing sessions of trivia on a weekly basis, and we want to target these guys and only focus people that are into crypto. As I mentioned before, we're running different themes: crypto, general, sports, movies, XYZ. So in the beginning, we only wanted to focus on crypto people. Why? Because these are the people that also are familiar with crypto, with MetaMask, with how to make transfers, and they just know, right? So we kept our focus very narrow, and I think that is very important rather than just going very broad, right, and wasting marketing resources and your money clearly. So our go-to-market strategy has been soft launch, do it slowly through communities, right? Discord communities mainly, Twitter, and some Telegram, right? Then we want to do advertisements and ads through um, TikTok, through Instagram is not so great for what we're doing because you might get visibility, but it's for us it's more like of a facade. Let's just we mainly focus on Discord and Twitter in order to bring users. So and then XYZ in terms of partnerships, we want to do also partnerships with uh, projects to allow their communities to be able to come and redeem their token and play with their token on our platform, right? So there's different things, but I'm not going to go into it too many details. But yes, there is eventually a plan, but you need to see it as a gradual plan.
Got it. So again, to make it actionable, and the takeaway is that it all depends. What do you want to achieve? Do you want signups? Do you want visibility? Just want visitors? Whom you're targeting? So you should know whom
Yeah.
you're targeting, and then the way is before you're ready to spend big, you make sure you have a product working, or because again, if you attract 1 million people, right, and the product isn't ready to capture them, then you'll just end up wasting money. You do that organically, like you said, in Web3 through communities, and then Discord is the place where communities live, Telegram as well, and X, and then later on you can go and figure out other ways like ads and all that kind of. I just before we move on, I just one thing. Ads is something that normally Web3 projects don't focus on. The first reason is because I have done my project as well, and we invested a lot of money on KOLs, shillers, and the reason we weren't able to do ads because it was banned back then, right? So if you ran ads for crypto, Web3, NFT, Twitter now after Elon Musk they are allowing it, but before that you wouldn't be able to do it, right? We wasted a lot of money, and same on Google. So we had to go for KOL. So my first question is why do you guys want to do ads? And second is what are your thoughts on KOLs? Because most of the Web3 projects, KOLs means key opinion leaders, like these guys that we have, right? And then people spend a lot of money on them. So these are the two questions: why ads, and then what are your thoughts on KOLs? Is that something Web3 founders should focus on when they're launching their project, or what's your advice on that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we actually did a few tests with KOLs, right? ones that we studied and saw that, they had a good following, and, they was not botted, or, they were not fake. And we had zero results, right, with them. So we had no one that came through our platform in terms of converting into a user, but sure, we had followers on our Twitter, right? So in that sense, you get visibility on your socials, right? But in terms of conversion, it wasn't great, right? So I think personally for our case, because the difference is that we are a platform that you need to pay, right? Which completely separates us with other projects or things that are free. Okay, so we think that one of the best things is focusing on communities through Discord. Discord has been absolutely amazing, right? It's a great platform in order to attract
And
visibility
how are you doing
to
that? Can you make it
projects.
more actionable? Are you just joining different servers, opening a ticket, talking to the founders, getting on a call? How are you exactly doing it? And how can other
It's a combination of, exactly, it's a combination of all those. Just going into communities. You can't obviously go and promote your project, and they ban you otherwise. But there are ways. You just go. You're. It's like you arrive in a new school, right? When you join a new community, you have to go there, make sort of friends, and discuss and slowly bring them into your community. And
it's
so
a
it
slow
takes
it's a
time.
slow
One thing I
process,
want,
right?
yeah. But and like everything, people think like, oh, it's once you build a product, it's ready, then everything needs to go from 0 to 100 very very quick. I mean, things take time, right? Everything takes a lot of time, and you need to just put effort every day into it. So for us, back to the KOLs, we did a few tests. It didn't work out pretty well. In terms of ads, I think if you want to run ads, there is different ways to run ads. If you want to just run an ad to get visibility of your socials, right? Or you want to run an ad in order to get conversion, which is what we want, right? And therefore, for the next step, I think if you want to run ads, we would definitely run it alongside an offer, right? In order to give them the viewers of the ad an incentive to come and join. Either it's a free ticket, it's a reward, it's a raffle, whatever it can be, right? For them to engage for a prize, right? So that's, I think, what we're gonna do. But as I said to you, like every founder, you need to be agile enough, test things, understand what works, what doesn't work, do email marketing, do a bit of this, bit of that. But you never get the results very very quick. I think it's quite important to mention, is that you can't just do one KOL and say, oh, okay, it didn't work, so KOLs don't work. You know what I mean? So things take time, but you can sense when things are going in the right direction, and then you push hard. So yeah.
Makes sense. And one thing that I like to do is that people don't really care about what you're doing, because I read this book called How to Influence and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And one thing that I learned from that book is people
Yeah,
are always interested in themselves. They're always thinking, how do I get this? How do I get one? So you should appeal them, right? And that is a very good thing that you mentioned. We'll run ads where you're saying, we'll give you X for free, right? So that's a very good thing, because founders, when they do these campaigns, they're like, just join our platform. Our platform is so great. They're talking about themselves. But what you have to do is talk about the customers, because everyone, all the days of the time, is thinking about how do I improve my life, right? They're interested in themselves. Amazing.
exactly.
That's very interesting. So the takeaway with the go-to-market strategy is build the right thing, take it slow organically, try different channels, and again, don't have preconceived notions of like, well, will this work or will it not? You really don't know what can work. Just like you said, you had a couple of bad experiences with KOLs, but you're open to trying out new. And then ads is something that when you run ads, make sure you run it with an offer so you can make sure you convert it. Amazing. The last thing before we wrap, I want to talk about is mindset, because from what I've learned is that why do most startups fail, right? Generally, and why some succeed is because startups fail because founders give up. They run out of energy to continue. One of them, and sometimes there's no market validation, sometimes there's no money, but majority of the time it's the founders that they give up, or they have dispute internally. And in that instances, mindset is everything, right? How does a founder think? Like, what's their mindset? So and again, talking to you just like for past 1 hour, I realize your mindset is really great when it comes to running a company. how important is it for a founder to have a right mindset on how do they deal with challenges, how do they solve conflict, and how do they resolve things? And then what is your advice for founders who want to become a founder, who are already founder, on mindset? Because for me, I think mindset is everything, and that the mindset of the leader is
Yeah.
how things downflow. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the first thing that comes to mind is you have to think long term, right? You always have to think long term and play the long game. So if you're starting a project, right, you have to see where you want this project to be and how you want to take it there, right? Come up with a full plan of how you want to do it, okay? And set yourself goals and expectations, okay? These things everybody knows. This is nothing new. But I think one thing that's important and not many people talk about it is that you should also have a vision that is on the short term, right? You have always the long vision, but you should always have also the short term vision as well, that keeps that keeps your goals just in front of you. So weekly basis, daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals as well. Okay, so what we do and the way I personally keep the mindset is that I tell myself, okay, this is the vision, I want to take this, and I see Brainz here, I want to build it to X amount of users, X amount of games and sessions per day, per week. Okay, but then I come back to now as well. I say, okay, today I'm here, right, with this many users. By the end of this month, I want to take it to this many users and these metrics. And then I think and write down and come up with a plan of how I'm going to do that, right? It's always better to achieve and complete smaller goals, right, than to continuously look at the big one and just see it, not getting close to you, because there's the smaller ones that get you close to the big one, right? So I think in general, mindset is really, I mean, probably the most important thing, because it's mindset that will keep you pushing forward and gives you the energy to do it. Because it does take energy, as much as people like to say, like, oh, you're a founder, you work for yourself. Trust me, buddy, is not easy. So it's you gotta have energy every day to push forward and get closer every day to your goal. But it's the whole journey. It's ups, downs, and whenever things go wrong, I always like to tell myself, if it was easy, everyone would have done it.
Very nice. So
right?
for the first point, you mentioned that play the long-term game. There's this guy called Naval Ravikant. Do you know about him? So he is the founder of AngelList, and he was the investor in Uber, Twitter, and so on. He's a really cool guy.
Yeah,
his philosophy is good, and he has one. And again, kind of my idol or my mentor. He says, like, play long-term game with long-term people in an industry where you can be for a very long time. So I think that summarizes your first takeaway.
Yeah.
Like you said, right? Long-term game. So you're working on an idea. Make sure 5 to 10 years with people like with whom you can stay for 5 to 10 years, like we covered, co-founders, and an industry that will be there for Web3. I mean, Web3, we don't really know what exists for it. I'm just kidding. I mean, I have a conviction in Web3. That's why I jumped ships from AI. Cool. And the second takeaway was that, what was the second takeaway? I forgot you mentioned for mindset. It was,
I mean, short
so it's like,
well, right?
Plan in decades, executes in days. I think I read a saying there. Yeah. And the third thing is that you have to, I mean, like you said, right, from the outside, like the grass is greener on the other side. You're a founder, you're working yourself, you're living life on your own terms. I mean, it's not that great when you have to pay bills, or when things don't go out, when you lose a customer. And trust me, I've been there when I lose a customer. So it sucks. So the takeaway is that, because one time what happens is, like, if for a founder, you have to get this right, your mental health, right? So is there any advice on that, or are you still trying to figure out, like me?
Actually, it's interesting you say that. I've never thought about it, actually, because we've been so like into the whole thing that I just go by the rule to that I just get things done. I don't really think it's also. This is a very personal thing I'm going to say, but I don't think is very healthy, at least from my end, to constantly think of how you feel, right? I don't like to constantly think of how I feel or how I'm what I'm going through, or how I just like to get things done. I know there's things to be done during the day. Today I wake up, I need to do X, Y, Z. I don't think of how, unless of course I break my leg and I fall on the floor. Sure, that's different. But regardless of if you're tired, you're not motivated, you just have to keep discipline. I think that's the most important thing. I really am trying to every day become a more disciplined person than the day before, and I think it's just very important. And the result of that, if you do it over many years, you'll see that you're going to be way, way, way
Everyone
ahead
else.
of everybody else, because it's like the everyday steps that compounds over the years. And then you see, wow, okay, I came very far, and it was just because of the days I didn't want to do this, or the moments I didn't want to do that, but I still did it. So, and I think that's what's important.
Amazing. Cool. So lastly, Pasha, what's next for Brainz? And then the people that are watching, what can they do after, how they can use your product? Give them like a step-by-step instruction. I'll obviously add the links in the description, but I want to hear from you what they should do.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, it's just a game for you to enjoy, honestly. Like, if you want to come and test your knowledge and play and answer some questions and win a reward, then that's what Brain is. So we run currently games about 2 times a week, right? We're going to increase that as users grow, right? But very easy, sign up system. You can either pay with crypto, or soon with even credit card that we're integrating with fiat, right? With the Stripe integration. So you can come, buy a ticket, and play. As simple as that. Session takes 3 minutes, 12 questions, fun questions. Everyone has a laugh.
And I really like one thing about your product is that no one loses. I mean, that's a very unique thing that you did. And I think if you guys do it, many other people would soon follow. It's like you have a mechanism where everyone is a winner. No one loses. It's a positive sum game.
Exactly.
Amazing. All right. So I'll add the link in the description to check out the product, and hopefully you can play the new game. Pasha, how has been your experience working with the Nalikes team? What were the pain problems that you had when you were looking for a partner? And then how have we helped you? And how has been your experience so far with this?
Thanks, Talha. So to be fully, transparent and honest with you, I think from the get-go, from the start, we were looking for a partner that would understand and fully be in line with the vision and what we wanted to build, right? And I think that was what you guys were able to provide from the beginning, and that's why we decided to work with you guys, because the number of calls we were having with the different developers and people that we were discussing the idea with was that we wanted them to understand and fully be on board with us, and we didn't feel that way with the other guys. And when we first speak together, and we thought that you guys are the right fit, and we felt from the start that we could work together on a long-term vision. And this project started, and everything went to plan. We were working very, very well together, and the communication was very good. One thing that was important was there was no language barrier, and we could really understand each other well. And obviously, once the product was ready, you guys were very professional at trying to adjust and maneuver and fix things that weren't as perfect as they should have been. Like any project developments, anything IT and technology, nothing is perfect from the start, right? It's always about having a good solid foundation and base and building around it. So I think the foundation and the base were there and very strong from the beginning. And we're now continuing to build, and obviously still the road is long, but we're gonna get there. I think already what we have is great, and is exactly how we saw it in the beginning. So it's very satisfying to see how an idea became exactly how you thought it would be. So yeah, so far so good. Everything has been amazing. So thank you guys, and it's been a combination of luck, us finding you, and it's been honestly an honor.
Thank you so much, Pasha, for coming on. It was a pleasure. I really enjoyed this, and I learned a lot. And like always, nothing in this episode was financial advice. Don't invest in anything. Please always do your research. And with that, we'll wrap up the episode. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next episode.
Thank you, Thala. Thank you, guys.